Hi, this is Betsy Beers. I'm the executive producer of Scandal, How to Get Away with Murder, and Grey's Anatomy. And we've got a name change this week, you guys. We used to be Scandal Revealed. But because we have Thursday night and we have all these great shows on Thursday night, we are now Shondaland Revealed, which is the official Shondaland podcast for the fine television programmies that we make here at Shondaland on Thursday nights on ABC. I am super excited to introduce my guest today because this is a first. You guys have met a lot of the folks from Scandal, but we thought it would be really fun to actually kick this new version of our podcast off with one of my all-time favorite actors and human beings, and also dangerous hyphenate, because he also sings, he directs, and he acts, and he probably writes in the closet someplace. I don't know. Yeah. And that is the sparklingly lovely Kevin McKidd. Hello. Sparklingly lovely Kevin McKidd.
Oh. Thank you. That was a really lovely introduction.
Oh, Betsy. But it's so amazing to me when somebody can do more than one thing. 'Cause I can't walk and chew gum at the same time, as most people know, but somehow or another, you sing crap, you act in crap, you direct crap. It's amazing to me that you actually can do all this stuff.
Well, maybe. I hope I can do them. I mean, singing's kind of the thing that I think that I'm more of a frustrated singer than anything. Really.
But you're a good singer and you're a good musician.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, we relied on you heavily. There was a fun musical episode we did, as I recall.
Oh yeah, that was. I think we should do another one.
I think we should too, because I think we probably have some musical talent that we haven't plumbed yet.
Absolutely.
Right? I think
Kelly McCreary, I bet she can
I bet Kelly McCreary can just...
If I heard her, we were doing an OR scene the other day and she was humming away and I was like, she's got a good voice.
I bet she could belt out a show tune or two, right?
Yeah, exactly.
See, now, as is always the tradition, I'm going to describe what Kevin is wearing, which is what we do so you guys can visualize what it's like here at Shondaland Revealed. Kevin is wearing a really nice sort of like blue button-down shirt, which is looking kind of casual, but at the same point, it's sharp. And some gray jeans, and the fly just landed on his foot because that fly's not stupid. He knows where to live. And he's got these really cool battered brown shoe boots. What do you call them?
They're kind of shoe boots. I actually bought them 5 years ago and they came out of the box just like these, like that.
They're fabulous, you guys. They actually kind of look like he beat the crap out of them at some point, but in fact somebody beat the crap out of them for you, which is way better because then you don't have to look like... You know, in our business, very often what we do is we go to costumes because things have to look like they're worn, and they'll buy new stuff. And they'll like run over shoes with their cars and throw dirt on them and all this stuff just so it doesn't look like it's new. Yeah. And look, somebody did that for you, Kevin. You didn't have to try.
I know, exactly.
It's super, super awesome. So before we get started with Kevin and talk about Grey's Anatomy, which is what we're going to be focusing on today, I want to do a quick sort of recap in my own inimitably clumsy, slightly clunky way of the fine other programs which aired last night. Let's start with Scandal, shall we? You guys, it's just heating up on Scandal. I mean, this was called The State of the Union, which I think is a great title because it is. What's the State of the Union? It's kind of a mess. I mean, you got Mellie, who's continually wandering around her Uggs, which is not necessarily the greatest thing to do. And there's this huge, huge issue about Mellie being crazy and whether or not she's really got her crap together or not. The whole episode is pretty much leading up to Fitz's State of the Union address. One of the issues about the State of the Union address is Mellie crazy? So there's a general movement afoot to see if Mellie will actually show up at the State of the Union address. She's kind of shut down, you guys. She kind of has. And Cyrus at a particular point is also grieving the loss of a loved one. He can't even convince her to go, but eventually, God bless Abby, Abby figures out a way to get her going and gone to the State of the Union, which is actually terrific. Jake and Olivia are going through their own thing because Jake is in a hotel room because he won't stay with Olivia anymore. Meanwhile, Jake continues to go David into pursuing what's in the B613 files because it sort of seems like he should be pursuing that. And in the meantime, he actually comes across a video file of Charlie in a restaurant. Does that have something to do with Harris and Adnan Salif's disappearance and death? It actually could. Now, Abby, meanwhile, has to prepare David for his nomination as Attorney General. And the problem is there's this really wonky, senator political dude who really has it in for David Rosen. And David Rosen finally figures out a way to use those B613 files by digging around for some dirt, which actually eventually forces this Politico to support him in his Attorney General nomination. Quinn and Huck have to babysit a couple who are known for their activism and gun control because Fitz wants them to show up at the aforementioned State of the Union address. Guess what? It turns out that this couple hate each other's guts. And it comes to blows and finally kind of comes to a head when the lovely woman who was put in a wheelchair by a shooting spree in a school where she ended up protecting kids, ended up sticking a corkscrew in her husband's leg in order to make him shut up. For all of you out there, not a great thing for marriage. You don't want to do that necessarily to your husband or wife, because I don't think that really screams longevity. Olivia Pope, Huck, and Quinn all figure out a way to get them to the State of the Union address. And Huck and Quinn really have to figure out a way to mend their fences because it's been kind of screwed up with them. Fitz and Olivia finally sort of see each other near the end of this episode, where Olivia gets a take on the speech that he's going to give about the State of the Union and gun control, and everything sort of culminates in this amazing speech about gun control. And you've realized that Olivia has told him to speak from the heart, and Mellie shows up, and Liv shows up at Jake's hotel room and says it's not a booty call. Basically, we leave things in the normal place with Scandal, which is everything's sort of on edge. You don't know what the heck is going to happen next. And you also find out that Cyrus, who's actually trying to pursue possibly a relationship, that could be a setup by Elizabeth North, who of course is played by Portia de Rossi, who's pretty freaking awesome. So that's Scandal. That was a lot, you guys, but hey, that's an excuse to blather. How to Get Away with Murder? It was called It's All Her Fault. We start in the woods again, and over the course of this episode, we continually go back and forth to the woods, and a lot of what we discover in the woods is that Wes is not the little puppy that we think he is. And over the course of the period of time, we kind of get the sense that Wes is really grown a pair, I think is one way of putting it. We also discover things like, oh, Wes maybe was lying about that coin toss, and who's Wes protecting, and who's this woman that they're all talking about in the beginning of this. The case that Annalise is dealing with is Max St. Vincent, who is a man who is accused of killing his wife. And what we discover over the course of this case is that, in fact, his daughter shows up from college to help testify in his behalf, and that he, in fact, murdered her mother in an incredible sort of weird turn of events. We discover that his daughter, who found out about the murder, which she was never told about, conspires to bring her father down by what we finally find out through Annalise's incredibly clever footwork and a lot of work on our student's part. The daughter killed the second wife. Annalise ends up getting the guy off, which sounds really complicated, but actually when you watch the episode, which you really want to do after this summary because it's a really clumsy summary. Meanwhile, there's this whole other problem going on, which is where the heck was Sam over the course of the night of Lila Stangard's murder? Annalise runs into her lover, Nate, and she begs him, please, 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 please investigate what happened because I think that there's something wrong. We discover that the woman in question that everybody seems to be trying to protect in the woods during burying the body or burning the body isn't Annalise, which is what we think it is, but it is Rebecca, the girl that lived next door to Wes, and it turns out has been intrinsically involved in this whole murder. The end of our current day episode is that Wes comes home to find out that Rebecca's been arrested. He desperately tries to convince Rebecca not to talk to the cops, goes back to his apartment, and discovers that Rebecca left a phone, which is hidden in his bathroom, for him to find. And he opens it, and there's a code, and you can't get in the code. So at the end of this episode, we realize that Wes has a phone, Rebecca's in jail, Annalise suspects her husband, and who the heck knows what's going to happen next week. Okay, now I need a drink, because that was exhausting.
You're really good with name retention, Betsy.
But finally, we get to talk about with Kevin McKidd here about Grey's Anatomy, which is episode 102, which is called Puzzle with a Piece Missing. One of my favorite moments in this episode, to tell you the truth, Kevin, has nothing to do with anything except it was an amazing joke, which is a singing sturgeon, which was the singing telegram, which I just loved. I mean, I just thought that was...
It was kind of genius.
It was kind of genius.
Yeah,
I mean,
that was Bill Harper, all over Bill Harper. Brilliant, genius writing.
Oh my God, that just made me laugh so incredibly hard. And a lot happens in this because it feels like ever since Maggie's arrived at the hospital, I would say the Mayor has been hitting the proverbial fan, right?
Right.
I mean,
absolutely.
Pretty much, she screws up Karev's career because he had this nice, cushy job with that slightly questionable doctor that he's going to work at by actually sort of outing him in the OR. Karev and Bailey are at odds in terms of, and then she steps in it by pointing out the fact that Bailey, you guys never should have eliminated Bailey's trials.
Right. Right.
There's a whole Meredith issue, which seems to be a big problem.
Yeah, which is going to get worse before it gets better.
Don't you think?
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean...
Yeah.
And I don't think the end of this episode really was a good indication of anything to me, which is she finally confronts Meredith, and Meredith totally shuts her down and doesn't believe her.
Right.
Not
Which is
good.
great. It was a great moment. I haven't seen that moment yet, but when we read it at the table read, it was a great moment. But yeah, it's not good. It's not a good way to start. you know. And she's in every, I mean, you've got to say Kelly McCreary's in every scene in this episode, and she's incredible.
It is
in
the Kelly
episode.
McCreary episode. It's true. It's sort of like her point of view.
Yeah.
And you guys are all sort of standing, I think, with your mouths open,
Yeah.
kind of going, oh, golly Moses, what did we actually bring upon ourselves, which I think is kind of great. I also think, I mean, one of the things I know you do in this episode is as the sort of authority figure at this hospital, you spend a lot of time questioning Maggie's motives for things, like when she orders the tests that she doesn't necessarily need, and it costs a lot of money. I mean, it seems like all you do recently is try to like get these people to realize there's a freaking budget.
Right, exactly.
And then there's somebody in charge. Because ever since this board thing
Nobody
happened,
listens to Owen.
Nobody listens to Owen, and I
anymore.
don't get it. Owen could kill you with a hand, like with a pen, probably, right? Because like Owen was a soldier. Owen knows how to fix people in battle, and he could probably like strangle you with his pinky.
Right.
So I would be more frightened of
He
Owen.
chooses not to. You know, that's the thing. He just chooses not to. He could. He chooses not to. No, I think, you know, she has a rough day, Kelly's character. You know, she really, it's almost like this episode is everything that could go wrong kind of goes wrong for her.
I think what's great is it's like, for me, as we all know, because I don't write the show, I just produced the show. I'm Grey's Anatomy's biggest fan, so I love watching it, and I love coming to table reads because it's really fun to see you guys. One of the great things for me, even after all these years, is every time a new person comes in and we get to see the hospital through their point of view, it helps refresh my memory as to what's come before.
Right.
Because she's playing catch up on so much stuff
that
you end up sort of going, oh my gosh, that's right. Like this happened that year and that. And this whole sort of flood of heart surgeons came back to me.
Right.
Just by listening to her, I was like, oh, think about Burke. They're like all of these things. And then at the core of this to me, which is like the key, and Sean and I have talked about this endlessly, is there's this huge hole because Christina's not there.
Yeah.
And for Owen, I mean, what the hell?
I know. I don't know what's going to happen for Owen. I mean,
I don't know. How are you feeling about that?
I don't know. It's kind of weird being single on the show because Owen was always attached to Christina.
I love it's a total reality too. It's just like, Owen's single. What are we going to do, you guys?
No, it's like, wow, this is kind of weird. You know, it's like, I think it's right that he's single for a while.
Well,
I think because
he's the most eligible fake TV doctor.
Right.
Who's single, I think, don't you?
Yeah.
I mean, but I do think it's right because I feel like you guys went through so much and you tried so hard. And
yeah, I saw a few tweets actually from people going, well, because Christina, when she went to Switzerland, has a photograph of you and Owen on her desk, that means you haven't broken up.
That's awesome.
It kind of does mean...
It kind of means you broke up because she's in Switzerland, you guys.
Exactly.
There's no commuter planes from Switzerland to Seattle last time I checked.
Last time I checked, no.
And I think as far as we know, they broke up.
I think they broke up. I think she has that photograph because she still holds a piece of his heart.
Yeah.
But as does he. But I don't know if that photograph constitutes, like, if Owen would be cheating if he went and did something else.
Set deck, you got to be careful what you put on desk, you guys. Just watch it carefully. We all got to think about that stuff because a lot is read into this.
A lot is read into it.
Well, and also I think for Owen, the only way for Owen to move on, honestly, is if you did break up, if you did get to that point. I don't think Owen's necessarily ready to date yet. Do you?
I don't think he is. I think it'll be fun when he does.
I can hardly wait.
Because I think there'll be a few disastrous events that happen. Yeah, I hope anyway. So that'd be really fun.
How do you feel like when you think about the character when we all first started with this, which was the soldier with PTSD and Teddy and all that stuff? When you articulate, how do you think Owen's changed over the years?
Oh my God. He's changed so much. What I love about the storyline and the character is that, beyond just getting to play him every week, which I love and is a huge blessing, but I do think there's something in the fact that this man who showed up completely broken in season 5, after having been in Iraq and being traumatized and, strangling his girlfriend in bed and all that kind of crazy stuff.
I mean, that's just crazy.
What
about that steam room?
Right. Yeah, the vent room.
The vent room.
The vent room. I love the vent room.
I remember when Shonda came up with the vent room. She was like, there's a room and there's a vent. And the air comes up. And I was like, that is like the most amazing thing I've ever heard. I do not know where you get this
propeller
stuff.
Going like this. And all the set deck guys going, but isn't that going to bring his PTSD back? Just like seeing the propeller again? But anyway. We'd always joke about that on set.
That would be super awkward in the vent room if his PTSD came back. Yikers.
But I do think, there's something as far as, we're a TV show and we're a drama and we're fiction, but the fact that you're telling a story about this man who's gone from being this completely broken person, having been at war, to then becoming, after 5 years, the chief of a hospital.
Yeah.
Single, but the chief of a hospital.
Yeah.
is quite an aspirational. It's a very positive message to be putting out there, I think, especially with with vets who are trying to rebuild their lives. So on a serious note, that I always feel proud about that's been Owen's trajectory. That he isn't somebody who's stayed damaged. He still has those feelings and those things, but he's achieved and moved on and managed to rebuild his life.
I think that's a really, really good point. And I think there is something incredibly aspirational about somebody who started in the place he went. And also when we met your mom, and there was a gigantic amount of baggage, both militarily and also pre-military.
Right.
That Owen was carrying around, and to think that it's possible for all of us, no matter what, with the help of people who care about you and also the strength and conviction to keep going, that change and transformation is possible like that is incredibly encouraging. I also think it's funny what you said, because I think what's interesting is it seems like in order to be head of a hospital, it helps if you're single. Like I look at Richard, and Richard had a wife, but that was clearly problematic given what we know about Richard and Ellis and, and his wife. And even when you look at Derek, for the period of time that Derek had the job, just not good. I mean,
he was chief for 3 episodes?
He was chief for a minute.
He didn't like it.
So that did not go. Yeah, I think it was maybe an episode or 2 episodes. Yeah. But it's really been, because Sloane never got to do it, right? Nope.
No.
It's just been you and Richard.
I know, it's true. I remember the day Tony Phelan actually said to me, he said, so we're making you chief. And it was just after Shepard had been chief for 2 episodes. And I said, oh, great, that'd be fun. How many episodes am I going to be chief for before Richard is chief again? And he went, no, we're keeping you chief. I'm like, really? I fell off my chair. I was like, but isn't that just going to be a 6-episode thing? And he went, no, we're going to keep you chief.
You're chief.
Like, wow.
And for you guys who don't know, Tony Phelan was one of our fabulous writers with his wife, Joan. They were partners, Joan Rader and Tony Phelan. They're now on another show on another network. But they're terrific and funny and great. And Tony was also a director, which actually, interestingly enough, leads me to my next point, which is the trifecta thing that you do involves directing as well. And you've directed 8 episodes?
I think it's 8. I think it's 8 or 9. Yeah, I can't
According
remember.
to my crack staff, Holly, who's sitting here.
It's 8.
Okay, so basically, I remember when you directed your first episode, and it was quite the thing, and you were very excited, and I was just a tiny bit nervous, I think.
I was really nervous. I didn't sleep, Betsy, for I didn't sleep for the entire prep.
I'm laughing in the most evil way.
And then the entire shooting, I did not sleep. I remember I didn't sleep a wink, and I was so caffeinated that I was just like I was like a sort of a wild animal, basically, on set.
Okay, what was funny too is what I do remember was your first table read, and I remember the expression on your face, which was a little bit like either a kid at Christmas or a puppy who had to go out and pee. I'm not sure which one, but it was that vaguely like, and maybe you did have to pee because you were drinking a lot of coffee. But you had this, it was the most beautiful thing, you guys, because he was so ready. He was so ready, he just needed to get let out the door.
That's right.
But he was so happy, but at the same point you could see he just wanted to do a good job.
Yeah.
And he did. You killed it. You've always killed it, which is what's great.
You. I love
to the point where you did the first episode this year.
Yeah, I got to direct the premiere episode. Funnily enough, the writer of my first episode that I directed that you're talking about was Hammer. Was
Mark Wilding, who is the executive producer of Scandal and has been in the Shondaland family for quite a while.
Yeah, and he was really. It was great having Hammer. Hammer's his nickname.
By the way, his nickname is okay. So his nickname's Hammer because he's not. His nickname's Hammer, and you guys, if you meet Mark Wilding, the great thing about Mark Wilding is he's this big, elegant, polite, lovely guy who, when he loses his temper, I have to say it's rare, but it's scary. But it is rare. But I think he initially did get the nickname Hammer on Grey's Anatomy because he does not present as a hammer.
No.
He says things like, very good, and as you wish.
As you
and
wish.
He was raised in a partially British household, which means he actually has very good manners. He can get down into it if he has to. But so I think Hammer was ironic. But now everyone calls him Hammer, you guys. I mean, I don't think his wife calls him Hammer, thank God, because that would be sort of weird. But we trained the studio and the network to call him Hammer.
Really?
Oh, everyone calls him Hammer. So the poor guy.
Poor guy.
I believe a nickname is the greatest sign of love, personally.
Absolutely, I love Hammer. He's the best. I miss him still because
he's great.
Oh my God, he's fantastic.
He's great, and we always talk about Kevin coming over and directing one of the other shows because Kevin is so incredibly talented. So What was it like directing Gina Davis?
Oh my God. She's like, everyone was really nervous because she's like
She's
Oscar-winning, Gina Davis. She's Gina Davis. And she walks on set and she is really nervous, which kind of freaked everybody out. Everyone thought she'd be like, you know, nobody knew what she would be.
Yeah, I mean, she had her own television show too.
Yeah, she was really nervous. And within about 10 minutes, I think she realized that this was a really safe place and we're all really friendly. The set is always really friendly for guest stars. But initially it was really endearing because nobody expected her. Everyone expected her just to walk on and be completely at ease, and she was just so endearingly nervous and sort of feeling that she was a little bit sheepish. And I would never have thought somebody like Gina Davis would still be nervous on the first day on set. I'm always nervous on the first day on set. Even the first time we come back from a hiatus, back to the new season, I feel a little bit of nerves just before day one.
What do you think that is? Just because you feel like you haven't exercised the muscle in a little while?
Yeah, I think it's that. I think it's a worry about my Scottish accent coming out.
Listen to that Scottish accent, you guys. We tried to keep that accent. We kept trying to wrestle with it. And Shonda kept saying, I think he's American. I don't know what to do, because we just love your Scottish accent. Like someday I'm going to get to do something with Kevin McKidd where we just extra Scots you.
right.
We like
Uber Scots.
We Uber Scots you. We make you talk with the thickest Glaswegian accent that no one will ever understand, just for my own delight.
Let's do it. I'll be a Glaswegian guest star on one of the other shows.
That'd be great. We'll put you in a like a cap and a weird beard or something.
And a wee kilt.
A wee kilt would be awesome.
A little mini kilt.
A mini kilt would be just genius. Just genius. Do you actually sort of have an album, right?
I do, yeah. That's right. It was about 4 years ago I did this wee album. God, I'm getting really Scottish now.
Do it.
Suddenly now we get this wee album. I did this wee album a few years ago.
What a jam. It's all good.
But it was all Scottish music. So yeah, you can still buy it on iTunes.
You can buy it on iTunes, you guys. So
yeah, it's called the Speyside Sessions.
Might be a nice thing for over the weekend. I think that could be an incredibly great thing. So if we actually did a guest appearance on Scandal, we'd just put you think, in a little kilt. And what's your ideal part if we ever made you a guest star?
I don't know. I guess like a hard man, a Glaswegian hard man. Let's go hard man. So a really tough, because there's a lot of really hard guys in Glasgow. It's a really tough working class city. So that would be fun to do. So I used to do a lot of. I used to do a lot of bad guys.
You did, actually. That was where I first saw you.
And I kind of miss it. I kind of, because Owen has he has his dark sides, but he's generally for the good on the planet. He's healing people as opposed to killing people. So I think it'd be fun to do another.
You're a good killer.
I'm pretty good at that stuff.
You're a good killer. You're a good ambiguous killer too.
Yeah.
You've done that too really well.
Right. You have sympathy for you kind
sympathy
of understand.
A little bit. He's sort of cold and tortured. And
exactly.
Stuff. That's good. Yes, we could be some strange Glaswegian killer politician.
There you go.
Maybe some embassy guy or something, right?
An embassy guy comes
in
over.
the wee kilt.
When Scotland gets independence or something like
that. All right, so we have some questions from our Twitter and Facebook followers. Okay, so Nicole at Mystic Grays wants to know, what do you think about Owen and Amelia as a possibility?
Well, Nicole, is it Nicole?
This is Nicole.
Hi, Nicole.
Nicole is at Mystic Grays.
I don't know. What do you think? I mean, I know there's been talk about that being a potential love interest for Owen. She's nice and she's kind of messed up, as a character. She's got a pretty dark past. Similar to Owen, so maybe that's a good fit. I don't know. Funnily enough, up until this point, we were on episode 6. Owen and Amelia have not even been in the same scene as each other. So I think it's going to be interesting to see if there's any kind of spark.
Oh, that's super interesting. I love playing the game with actors. Who haven't you done a scene with, and who do you want to do a scene with?
Well, I wouldn't mind doing a scene with her. Who have I not done a scene with?
Seems like it's hard to find in a show that's lasted as many years as this
I haven't
one.
done scenes with Bailey in a long time, and I love it when Owen and Bailey...
I love with Owen and Bailey.
Yeah, because they always clash heads.
No, to the writers, Owen and Bailey, it's like that's the best. What was your favorite scene to shoot as a director in the premiere? Heartbeat wants to know, at A. Crowan.
I would say the most challenging scene was the sequence with the helicopter, even though a lot of it was green screen.
Oh, I love that.
The fact that we had these huge wind machines, it felt like it was old Hollywood for a second. It was this huge set, huge wind machines, big cranes, so I got to have all these toys, which we don't get to have that much.
No, we don't. We kind of like below the pile of money, like every once in a while we stockpile some shekels, and then we go out and first episode, we kind of have to do something impressive. I love that. And also, by the way, I read the script. I'd obviously been there at the table read. When I saw that episode and that gurney went flying off, I was in a group of people, you guys, because we were all together actually Thursday night because we were trying to keep the tweeting spirits alive. And it was amazing. It totally freaked me out.
Yeah, it was great.
That must have been so much fun to direct.
It was so fun. And there was that shot that, it was funny, I had in my mind this shot where we were below the skyscraper and the gurney comes and spins and slams straight into us, you know.
Totally.
Slam. And I was like, there was no way to do that where we are our set. So I said to Scott Ramsey, who's our amazing visual effects supervisor, I said, this is the shot I've got in my mind and I know we can't do it in any practical terms because it's all just green screen elements. And he said, leave it with me, I'll do it. And I'm like, are you sure? Because I'm a real worrywart and I'm very meticulous.
He's a real worrywart.
And sure enough, that shot when it comes and literally the gurney slams right onto our faces, as it were, he just nailed it. So I was very happy.
Oh, it's so cool. I mean, it's just like so cool. Calzona at Captionatomy. What was your favorite season finale?
Oh, wow. The shooter.
And by the way, I think Calzona might be from England or Europe because of the spelling of the word favorite. Just saying.
with a
It's O-U.
With an O-U. I would say...
Hey there across the pond.
I love the shooter episode. I was
going to say that too.
That was an amazing episode.
I literally was sitting here with the shooter episode in my head. Yeah. Like, I love the shooter episode, which sounds like a weird thing to say, but I found it so amazingly compelling and moving, and I felt like every single character was put in literally the most nightmarish situation.
Yeah, it was just so much fun to shoot. It felt like we were in this thriller, you know.
Totally.
The episode felt like we were in this sort of high espionage thriller episode. I loved the table read where Owen gets shot in the chest in the OR, and I'm sat there going, and I remember we came to the end of the page and Christina's character saying, "Is Owen dead? Is Owen dead?" And there was a page turn before you have Meredith saying, no, he's still breathing. And I was like, oh, please let him not be dead. I was like...
Okay, and I just want to make a point for our listeners. If we're killing somebody, we do try to tell them ahead of time so they don't find out in the table read, because awkward.
Yeah, that would be awkward.
It's a little strange. No. But that's the sort of thing you learn over the years, that not the best way to actually let an actor know that they're dead is sitting there. Not always the best, totally. Nina Ackerman at Gray's OITNBFAN, Ann, wants to know, what was your favorite episode with Sandra Oh?
Oh my God, there's so many episodes I loved working with Sandra. That's a really hard question because there was a lot of amazing episodes. I loved the alternate universe episode from last season.
I love that episode. Oh, I love that episode so much.
Just to kind of see where they might end up. But I also loved, there was a great episode for them when they spent the whole episode in therapy back in like season 7, and we just Sandra and I
love the therapy.
You know, we just got to do so much really detailed acting work in that episode. But I loved the fun of the alternate episode, even though the alternate universe episode was kind of depressing because both, whether they had kids or didn't have kids, they both eventualities left one of them unhappy.
Yeah, I thought it was the coolest sort of. I always say sliding doors, which isn't really right, but it was that old movie with John Hannah and Gwyneth Paltrow, and this whole idea of when you really follow the path, and I loved the framing device of that, which was the guy who was trying to figure out whether or not he wanted to be kept alive or not. And it's that moment when he's so happy with the kids and the birthday party's going on, and you realize no matter which way you played this, it just didn't work out well. No. And by the way, the guy who really got screwed and everything was Jackson.
I know.
Who, like, as a result of you guys, became like a hopeless alcoholic and home, and
that's right.
That was just a crap show.
He had a cool kind of beard.
He had a great beard. I mean, his facial hair was awesome, which was really the upside, I think, to all of that. Simone on Chasing Rain at Chasing Rain wants to know: do you feel a character's storyline can be explored without being paired up as someone's love interest? Which is, I think, a really interesting thing to ask. Like, it doesn't seem to be dependent on being a love interest to be an interesting character, right?
Right. Yeah, no, I think so. I mean, interestingly, before Owen Hunt showed up, Christina's character spent, what would it have been, about a season and a half? Or a season single? I think she spent season 4 as a single person.
Yeah.
And Owen is kind of doing the same thing right now. So I think, absolutely, I think it's been really interesting playing Owen uncoupled from Christina, to kind of figure out who he is and what his world is, and you know how he ticks as a person without being the other half of a relationship. So I think
totally. No, I think so. And also, I always like to say that some of the most intense and important relationships on the show are not romantic.
Right.
So it's like when you look at Christina and Meredith, which to a large degree was, you know, this emotional center of the show when we started too. Part of the idea when we were first talking about this was, the depth of every kind of relationship you can have. Your friends, your competitors, your boss, your lover. So I am excited because I do think it kind of gives your character this opportunity to get to explore other stuff.
So far this season there's been a lot. Owen and Callie have become very sort of linked, and their relationship is getting deeper and deeper and really intense, you know. So that's been really fun to play. And Sarah's such a brilliant
she is. And, you know, interesting enough, Mellie Grant at Calliope AUSE, or O's, Calliope's, or something, because as you guys know, one of the funny jokes of this podcast is I can't pronounce Twitter handles. She said, what do you think of a Callie and Owen friendship in season 11? And I really feel like that's starting to develop.
Really is. And it was kind of hinted at way back. It's funny, I watched reruns of season 5 recently, and you could see we hinted at a bond between Callie and Owen, but then Owen got so busy with Christina and all that, you know, the messed up nature of their relationship.
Well, that was a full-time job.
Yeah, that was a full-time job. Him and Callie really are kind of, you know, they're in an interesting place together.
Which is just super cool. Now, Gabriel Marie at Gabs wants to know, do you like to dance? And if so, what's your favorite go-to dance song?
You know, oh my God. I'm not the best dancer in the world. I'm a better singer than I am a dancer. Let's put it that way. I don't mind doing things like...
Not a dancer. See, America?
I'm terrible.
Do not send him
But
dance
I'll try.
tapes.
You know what?
I'll try.
I'm not one of these people who like won't dance. You know, there's guys that like, no, I don't dance. And they just kind of stand at the back and go, I don't dance. You know, I'm not that. I will go and make a complete idiot of myself and enjoy it. I love moving, but if I really had an out-of-body experience and watched my own dancing, I would not give myself a 10.
Stephanie Ostrovsky-Teraday wants to know, how hard is it to go from a Scottish to an American accent?
It used to be hard. The first season, actually, I had a dialect coach, a voice coach for the first season.
I remember that.
Yeah, she's an amazing dialect coach. And but now I don't need it. Now I feel like I can literally, I see these actors who stay in an American accent all the time, you know, and that's not for me, because I would just feel like I was a schizophrenic person if I did that. So I have to I like the idea, I like the feeling of jumping from, it's like an on-off switch. You know, as soon as they say cut, I go straight back into my normal accent.
Yeah, because it's really seamless at this point, because I'll be talking to you, you'll sit down at the table read, you'll switch. And also I sort of feel like when you have kids, nothing would be freakier to me than watch Daddy come home and talk in a weird voice.
Absolutely. Like Daniel Day-Lewis, you know, he stays in like the character he's playing.
Yeah, but he also made shoes for a while, didn't he? Right. God bless him. I mean, he's amazing. Like, he quit and he became a cobbler, and then he came back and he was a genius. And I don't know. I just think it would be very hard to function in my daily life.
Yeah, my kids would be like, why is Dad acting so weird?
Why is he acting so weird? Like, is he pretentious?
Exactly.
Is Dad pretentious? I don't know. One last question, which is, Adriana asked this. Do you miss Eric and Kyler?
I do, you know. I really do. I mean, I haven't seen Eric. I bumped into Eric at an audition about a year ago, and he looked really great. Kyler Lee, she was such an amazing person and a brilliant actress and funny as hell. So yeah, I miss them all. I miss them all quite a lot.
And everybody wants to know if you miss Sandra.
No, don't miss Sandra. Of course I miss Sandra. But Sandra lives literally 10 minutes away from our studio. So I do see quite a lot of Sandra. So it's not quite so bad. I thought it would be a lot worse than it was, because she really is, or was, my person on set.
Oh yeah, you guys, absolutely. Yeah. So I think that's a comfort for all of us to know.
Yeah.
See, that you can run into her every once in a while or make a plan to get together and you can see each other.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for doing this.
Did I do okay?
Oh my God, you were so great. You guys, look, it's like his first podcast ever, and he had to do it with me.
I was nervous about it, guys.
He should, see, that's the thing is you're so good at everything. You could just lay back. But I think part of the reason that you're so good at everything is you get excited about it, and your passion and stuff shows through, which is what's super cool. So Kevin McKidd, such a pleasure to talk to you, and so much fun to actually get a little bit of quality time. And the selfish reasons I do these podcasts, you guys, is so I actually get a little one-on-one time with people who I really like and I don't get to hang out with, and then you guys have to listen. So it's a win-win, right? Okay, so next week, we have a whole, that's my phone, you guys. Isn't that cool? Okay.
Would that be
weird? My poor assistants out there will be like, we lost our jobs. Kevin McKidd's answering the phone. Next week, we have 3 more fantastic episodes of new television programs. We have Grey's Anatomy at 8 o'clock. It's going to be incredibly fabulous and exciting. You're going to love it. And that's at 8 o'clock ABC. At 9 o'clock, we have Scandal. Also a brand new episode. You're not going to be able to believe what's going to happen. It's all getting worse. That's all I'm going to tell you. And there's an incredible case which is coming up. And just watch the Jake Olivia stuff. It's going to kind of get heated in different ways. I'm not giving anything away, but come on, how long can this situation just keep going? And I can't tell you too much. So that's 9 o'clock on ABC on Thursday night. And 10 o'clock, How to Get Away with Murder. Oh, there are a lot of problems going on How to Get Away with Murder. You got the dead body. You got the concern about Annalisa's husband, Sam, played by Tom Verica, a man who's also can do more than one thing because he's the director on Scandal, and he's the actor on How to Get Away with Murder. The relationship with Wes and Rebecca. What's going on with that? We're going to find out in flashback, and we're going to find out in present day. And you're also going to get a little window into the soul of Michaela. That's at 10 o'clock on ABC Thursday night. That's next week. You have a full lineup of Shondaland. Don't miss us. You know the drill. You can follow us about a billion different ways nowadays because technology has gotten kind of crazy. There's Twitter, there's Facebook, and you can always listen to these podcasts. And there's always that .com thing, which has been around for a long time, but they do a great job on the ABC website. They do a great job for us at Shondaland. Check it out. This is Betsy Beers. I'm the executive producer of Shondaland Thursdays. This is Shondaland Revealed. Have a great, safe week, and I will be back next week with another fabulous, fine performer from one of the fine television programs. Bye-bye.